the special segment of the week where we're talking to Darrell Owens. Darrell Owens, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, Rob. Glad to be on, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Only a few topics here. Let's talk about the Commanders. Tell us what were your thoughts from the game you saw on Sunday when you were down at AT&T Stadium.
It's going to be a very tough road for the Washington Commanders. Watching this team over the last couple of weeks. First game of the year, you get off a little high with Jacksonville. Actually, it's starting to look like a better victory now that Jacksonville is playing pretty good. Then the second week in Detroit doesn't go too hot. Got off to a bad start, and then they came back late. Philadelphia game wasn't good at all. I mean, at one point, Philadelphia had 323 passing yards, and they had -1. And then you go into this game in Dallas, and you watch a team that just offensively doesn't know what they're doing. And I hate to even say it that way, but there's no rhythm in the offense right now. Carson Wentz seems to either be running for his life or holding on to the ball too long. And it just doesn't seem like that offense has clicked. In the first 2 weeks, we saw an offense that was blowing up. But now it's kind of like dwindling out, and there's something amiss there that they've got to fix soon. They needed this victory against Dallas because they have a very tough schedule coming up, Rob.
Yeah, and these last 2 points I want you to hit on really quick. The two things that are glaring to me. 26.8 points per game given up, which is 29th in the NFL. And Carson Wentz has been sacked 17 times. 9 alone by the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's a hard thing to watch, and it just feels like, to me, the play call. Now, I think this team as a whole, if you look at the talent, there's a lot of good talent. I mean, that's every NFL team. But then you look at this team, they've got some glaring spots where they can be really good. Their running back group is a pretty good group, especially once they get Brian Robinson back. Their receiver core is a nice receiver core. Logan Thomas is a good tight end. Their offensive line is where they lack, and obviously with everything going on with Carson Wentz, we've seen him be good at moments and we've seen him be bad. They've got to find a way to protect Carson Wentz or give him some time or make the right play calls that's going to benefit Carson Wentz. They've been doing this RPO type thing, and it just hasn't been working.
Yeah.
And you can see the struggle. They've got to figure it out, Rob. It's going to be a really long season for Commander fans.
Yeah, and I'll just say this before we close this out. The Commanders will run the football. They should have stuck to it. But, hey, as we said again, play calling. All right, Darrell, real quick. We have 2 more quick things. First, the Spiders report. The Spiders are 3-2. They lost to Elon last week. But, however, their receivers are doing very well. Ty Williams, he has 42 catches, 317 yards, 2 touchdowns. Leroy Henley, 30 catches, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns. And Jacob Harris, he has 30 catches for 365 yards and a touchdown. And the quarterback, Reese Udinski, has 13 touchdowns and 1 pick. Evaluate their season. Of course, in 2 weeks, on the 15th, they have Villanova. Then they're going to Hampton. Just talk about real quick how impressive this team has been and how those 2 games stretch, that 2-game stretch is going to be, how important it is for this ball club.
This Richmond team has been really good. You look at a 3-2 record and you say, well, wait a minute, 3-2. Well, they played well, very well against Virginia. But, Virginia just had the athletes, and that would end up happening. Like, they got the lead early. They just couldn't, hold on to it. They had chances to crawl back. They just couldn't do it. But you could see there was talent there. The game against Elon, another tough battle. You got to see Elon the week before when they played against Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So you know what type of team Elon is, and it was a really good game. It was a battle.
Yes.
This Richmond team has a chance to really put a dent in some things the next couple of weeks. Udinski is a really good quarterback. I like what I've seen from him. He has great command of the offense. The receivers, Josiah Williams, he's been phenomenal. This team has a chance over the next couple of weeks to really get things rolling before they take on William and Murray, which I think is going to be a really good game. A really good game coming from Robin Stadium. So it could be all lining up.
And again, Darrell, it's an historic game from them going to Hampton as well on the 22nd.
Exactly. And, with Hampton coming into the fold in the CA is a big deal for HBCU schools.
Yes.
They're going to have North Carolina. I believe North Carolina A&T is also going to make the move to the CAA. It's a big move for HBCUs as a whole, but this is big for Hampton because people are starting to recognize that Hampton football can do, some pretty good things. They started the year off undefeated before they took their first loss to Delaware.
Yes.
They got Maine coming up this weekend. That's going to be a nice little challenge
Thank goodness they're not there anymore because they're beating people this year.
Right, right, and it's been amazing. JMU's been great, and the teams in that conference have played really, really well.
Yeah.
So I mean, Hampton Richmond is going to be a historic one. It's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to see it. I think that Hampton could give them a run for their money. I think Richmond might have the edge, but I don't put anything past that Hampton team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But what I will say is this, and this is the last thing we'll talk about, and this should be it'll be very quick. There's a rumor that this coming Monday night on Monday Night Raw, we might get a face down between the Bloodline and DX. Sir, how excited are you for that?
I'm going to fanboy a little bit, Rob, and it's going to be a very interesting scene to see go down, but it's going to give you some of that nostalgia. But it's also going to, if you're a wrestling fan, I know some people get tired of the old acts, but as an attitude fan, I guess you can say, it's going to be fun to see how Roman Reigns and Triple H kind of play off each other, how Shawn Michaels and the Usos kind of get into it, and it's just going to be a fun experience to kind of see. But I'm excited, man. I mean, we're talking DX, man. We're talking the Bloodline. We the ones,
What if and what about this, Darrell? I've been hearing rumors that Shawn Michaels has been growing his hair again. He's been training. What if they attack DX and we somehow get AJ Styles to come out and we get that face off we've been waiting for with him and Shawn Michaels?
If we get that, I'm going to be hyped. I mean, I know that Shawn Michaels still got a little bit in him, but we all know that AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers in the world, top 10 for sure, top 5 in some people's eyes.
Yes.
If I could see AJ Styles and Shawn Michaels, I would probably just sit back and enjoy the ride. I can only imagine how good that match is going to be.
Yep. All right, Darrell Owens, thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and we will catch you next time. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that's Darrell Owens, the owner, CEO, and the man, the myth, the legend of the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Thank you, Darrell, for your time today, sir.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You have a great night now. Let's have a recap of the NFL Week 4. The Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Miami Dolphins 27-15. Of course, the big story, Tua getting hurt, the Miami Dolphins losing their first game of the season. I think this was a big deal for the Cincinnati Bengals because of the simple fact that the Bengals needed that momentum win. They need to show everybody that they are still a legit football team. And that defense is still really good in Cincinnati. So if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm feeling really confident about myself today. Now, let's go to Sunday. The Minnesota Vikings defeat the New Orleans Saints in London. Here's the key for this game. You had no Jameis Winston. You had no Alvin Kamara. But yet and still, the Vikings only beat this team by 3 points. For me, that's very concerning if you are the Minnesota Vikings, that you only beat a Saints team by 3 when they didn't have their starters, their main starters. And I don't think they had Thomas at receiver either. So if you got their Vikings, you got to make some adjustments because it's just, that's not good, man. That's not good at all. The Washington Commanders were defeated by the Dallas Cowboys 25-10. Carson Wentz, 25 of 42, 170 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was sacked twice. His total now comes to 17 sacks on the season. Cooper Rush, 15 of 27, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns. He should have had 2 interceptions, but luckily for the Dallas Cowboys, penalties took that away. The Commanders were heavily penalized on Sunday. It was absolutely horrific the way they were getting penalized. The Texans and Chargers. The Chargers get some revenge. They lost to the Texans last year late in the season. They get this win. The Texans, in my opinion, are still impressive. The New York Giants against the Chicago Bears. Daniel Jones has a hurt ankle from this game. He was running around everywhere. Saquon Barkley was doing his thing. He leads the NFL in rushing. The Bears need to find some offense. I believe next year, once that $100 million kicks in, be able to bring in some players, some more receivers, get some more defense going. The Bears have a bright future. They just have to wait, in my opinion, for next year because right now they're struggling to win these games. And they're winning these games, but they shouldn't be winning them. So we'll see if the Bears slide starts soon as they are now 2-2 on the season. The Seahawks against the Detroit Lions, probably the game of the day, folks. The Seahawks, Geno Smith, 23 of 30, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rashad Penny, 17 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 7 catches, 149 yards, no touchdowns, but his impact was there all day. We look at Jared Goff. Just another impactful day if you're Jared Goff. 26 of 39, 378 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Jared Goff really playing some good football. Jamal Williams went for over 100 yards. This this Lions team is #1 in scoring, but 32nd in defense. They've got to fix that. A very exciting team, a team that I'm excited to watch on Thanksgiving Day, as they will finally give us some fireworks. This team is coming. Give this team another year or two. Don't blow up anything. If you're the Detroit Lions brass, this team has an opportunity to be very, very good. Just give them a chance. Give them a chance. The Philadelphia Eagles against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are up in this game at 1 point, 14-0. The Eagles went on to outscore them 29-7. The Eagles continue to play good football. Even though Jalen Hurts did not have a touchdown pass in this game, he had an interception. Miles Sanders ran 27 times for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. The key for Philly, the play action fake, run the ball. You don't have to get too pretty with anything. All you've got to do is play your game. Philly, play your game. If you do that, you'll be just fine. Next, we have the New York Jets against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, have the mighty have fallen. I tell you, folks, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mitch Trubisky, 7 of 13, 84 yards, an interception. He was sacked 3 times. He was pulled at the half for Kenny Pickett, who came in, who threw 3 interceptions. I've never been a Kenny Pickett fan. I'm going to say this, folks. I've never been a Kenny Pickett fan. I don't think he's got what it takes to be a good NFL quarterback. And you talk about great? Hell no. Kenny Pickett is not the answer. Pittsburgh better find some answers quick. Mike Tomlin, they want you out of town, sir. I'm telling you. They're going to Mike McCarthy you. Watch out. I'm telling you. I can see it. You start watching and seeing some of the comments on television. You start seeing some of the messages on Twitter, Instagram, etc. I think Pittsburgh Steelers fans are getting tired of Mike Tomlin, which I think is crazy. He wins every year. It was a miracle he even got you guys to the playoffs last year. So if I'm Mike Tomlin, I kind of watch my back there in Pittsburgh. The Cleveland Browns against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons pull it out. They came out. They played hard football. They did what they were supposed to do. Mariota, 7 of 19, 139 yards. 0 touchdowns, but 1 interception. But they were able to do some other good things. I can't say they got the ball in the hands of their playmakers. Kyle Pitts, 1 catch, 25 yards. Drake London, 2 catches, 17 yards. And they somehow still win the football game. They go well over 100 yards combined with a few running backs. So if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I continue that method of running the football, trying to get the ball to my main playmakers. But you got to give the ball to London and Pitts more than 3 times combined. That's not going to get it done if you're the Atlanta Falcons. Now let's go to the Tennessee Titans, who finally got it rolling. Tannehill, 2 touchdowns, but more importantly, Derrick Henry, 22 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown. The Colts, Matt Ryan, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns, but an interception. Jonathan Taylor, 20 carries for 42 yards. That ain't going to get it done, sir. That's not going to get it done. Jonathan Taylor's got to dominate for them to win. The Baltimore Ravens against the Buffalo Bills. The Ravens had a chance, folks. They were inside their 5-yard line. They decided to throw the ball instead of going with the automatic kick by Matt Stover. What did the Bills do? They drive it down, kick the game-winning field goal. The Ravens lose. The Ravens are their own worst enemy, ladies and gentlemen, and unfortunately, they will continue to be their own worst enemy if they do not stop getting their own way. Mr. Harbaugh, this might be your last season in Baltimore if you don't get it done, buddy. I'm talking about at least getting to the second round of the playoffs. I don't think you have to. I think I picked the Ravens to get to the Super Bowl, but if you don't at least get to the second round or maybe even the AFC Championship game, you might be gone along with Lamar Jackson, because I don't know if Baltimore looks at you two guys as a long term. They haven't paid Lamar. There's always questions about Harbaugh. Who knows? They might want a hard reset in Baltimore. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying decisions like this and games like this, these big games, it kind of makes the organizational brass think, you know, can we move on? Can we move on? So, who knows? The Carolina Panthers against the Arizona Cardinals. 26-16, Arizona wins. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and I'm talking to you, Cleveland. The great Baker Mayfield 22 of 36, 197 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Baker Mayfield talked about he wanted revenge. He wanted to show everybody what he could do. He talked about, oh man, I'm Baker Mayfield. You know, I was hurt all last year. Well, right now, sir, you've got 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. You've got 6 fumbles with 1 loss. You are a bust. You need to stop talking because Baker Mayfield, you are not good. You were never that good. I said that when you were coming into the league. I don't wish that anybody not play well. I don't want anybody not make their money. But just the way you brag, the way that you make everybody think that you are the man, you're not. It's being proven. You got weapons in Carolina. So I don't want to hear anything about I don't have any weapons. You have weapons. This division right now looks a little poor in the NFC South. You have a chance to stay in the mix. You have a chance to stay in the playoff race. And you guys are wetting the bed. So, hey, man. It is what it is. The Denver Broncos against the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I'm going to say this, and I put this post on Facebook, right? I think it's a lot of envious people out there who are just mad that Russell Wilson had the ability to get Ciara. I think a lot of people are mad because they think Russell's like one of these corny dudes who, oh man, he's always acting weird and doing this. Russell Wilson's a good dude. The disrespect that I see from this guy is about this guy is absolutely disgusting. Do you guys understand? This guy is about what? Close to 2,000 yards. I think it's like 1,969 yards away from 40,000. He's like 4 touchdown passes away from 300. You guys better get some respect. This is a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback. Get some respect. How about you look at Hackett? How about you look at the fact that the Denver Broncos gave up 144 yards to Josh Jacobs? Now, that could be a couple of things. Maybe Josh Jacobs is as good as he was last year. Maybe Josh McDaniels just realized, oh, wow, we have a running back who can actually run the ball. But look at these numbers, folks. This is the regular season so far for the Raiders. For Josh Jacobs, 10 carries, 57 yards. 19 carries, 69 yards. 13 carries, 66 yards. And finally, on Sunday, 28 carries for 144 yards. 2 touchdowns. His long was 43. So even without that long, he still would have been at 100 yards. Wow. Check it out, Las Vegas Raiders. You actually have a running back who can run the ball. Josh McDaniels, you have somebody who can run the football. Use him. Just stupid. And the Denver Broncos defense needs to get it together. Next, we have the New England Patriots against the Green Bay Packers. All I can say is the Packers better get their stuff together really quick. There's no reason this game should have went to overtime against the New England Patriots. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to go back and forth on this game. Kansas City Chiefs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, I was listening to the radio the other day. I don't remember who said it, but they said something that was very, 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 very mind-opening. And it boggled my mind to the point of I had to literally stop the car on the side of the road and think about this. They said that this game was the passing of the torch. It could be the passing of the torch. They said that Patrick Mahomes has something to prove because it could be the passing of the torch. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that yes, this game was the passing of the torch. The GOAT Tom Brady, 6, 7 Super Bowls, 6 New England, 1 in Tampa, so many Pro Bowls you can't even count, touchdown records, passing records. But ladies and gentlemen, Tom Brady, even though he threw for 385 yards and 3 touchdowns, there were times in this game that he looked normal. There were times in this game that he looked 45. And I know, yes, he threw for all those yards. And you say, how do you look normal? But folks, when you throw 52 times, you're going to get some yards. When you have weapons like they have, you're going to do some things. But Tom Brady does not look as confident. He doesn't look like he has the focus. And unfortunately, there are reports coming out about a divorce between him and his wife, his supermodel wife. I'm not going to get too deep in that because honestly, folks, that's his personal life, etc. But when you're a man, and we can't get a little deeper here in a sense. When you're a man and you're having female issues, especially at home with the woman you love and vice versa, it's going to affect you some. because it doesn't look like the same Tampa team. I could go back to that first game against Dallas and tell you Tampa did not look the same. They didn't have that same camaraderie. They didn't have that same fire. There's something missing in Tampa. And I believe that Tom Brady right now, he's just not bringing that fire to this team that he usually brings. So I hope and pray for him and his wife that they figure their situation out. I'm not here to spread any lies or anything like that. I'm just going to pray that they can work their situation out because, folks, divorce is hard. We see it all throughout this country. I believe it's what, 50 to 55% of marriages are going in tank. So yeah, especially in this climate we're living in today. So, but yeah, man, Patrick Mahomes is the truth. He threw that late game interception, which I wasn't a big fan of. But that spin move, my God. Oh man. That was just nasty. That was just nasty. And I'll tell you, Patrick Mahomes is on his way to another MVP, man. 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This dude is on his way. Trust me. Patrick Mahomes is on his way to another MVP. We go to Monday night, the Rams against the 49ers. Talking about another great play. Talking about a play that will be remembered in the lore of Monday Night Football. What Deebo Samuel did to that Rams defense was just absolutely ridiculous. He caught it high. He went 57 yards for the touchdown. Deebo Samuel's unreal, man. And I'm telling you something. I'm coming out this week with my MVP top 5 candidates. It ain't Jimmy Garoppolo who's in that list. Definitely Deebo Samuel, because that guy makes this team so much better, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's go to the Week 5 predictions for the NFL. We have the Colts and the Broncos. I've got the Broncos in this game. The Colts have some key defensive players who are going to be out. I've got the Broncos 31-21 in a win. Now, going to Sunday as we load everything up. On Sunday, we have the 9:30 game in London. We have the Giants against the Packers. I have the Packers in this game by a score of 21-10. I think that they'll dominate defensively and they'll take out the Giants. Next, we have the Commanders and the Titans. I have the Commanders. You call me crazy if you want. I got the Commanders. I think Carson Wentz is going to have a big game. I think they're going to lean on the running game, and I think Derrick Henry will have a pretty decent game, but I think that the Washington Commanders running game, the coaches will realize we need to run the football because we had success against Dallas, but we just didn't take advantage of it, and I think that will help the play action game, and I think they'll beat the Titans by a score of 25-22 on the last second field goal in Landover, Maryland. Next, we have the next slate of 1 o'clock games, the Lions and Patriots. I have the Lions. I think the Lions' offense is too explosive. I think the Patriots are just coming off just an emotional loss to the Packers by 3 when I feel like they had no business even being in the damn game. So I'm going to give this to the Detroit Lions. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers and Buffalo Bills. 42-10, they blew them out. Kenny Pickett ain't got a chance in hell of going to Buffalo beating that team. Not a chance in hell. The Miami Dolphins, New York Jets. I got the Dolphins. If it's Tua, if it's not Tua. I think Teddy can get the job done. I think the Jets are riding high from the win last week. I think the Dolphins go in, and Tyreek Hill goes for about 200 yards and 2 touchdowns on the New York Jets. The Atlanta Falcons against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got the Falcons, man. Again, I think this Falcons team is being just undermined. I think they're being disrespected. I don't think people are actually giving them the credit that they deserve. I think this defense is opportunistic, meaning this defense is not going to shut you down. This defense is not going to be one of those defenses that's the 80s Bears or the early 2000s Buccaneers or the Ravens, but they will play opportunistic football. And I believe that offense is good enough in Atlanta to go down to Tampa and shock the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which will bring even more questions on Tom Brady and that team. And Todd Bowles, who I came in the season saying I didn't think he was a good head coach. I understand Todd Bowles is a nice guy. He's a good dude, man, but I just do not believe in him as a head coach. He's more of a coordinator, in my opinion, like a Rex Ryan. But that's just, Rex Ryan had success, but still, only a coordinator, in my opinion. The Seattle Seahawks against the New Orleans Saints. I have the Saints in this game. It's down New Orleans. I think that the Seahawks are riding high. Now, if Seattle goes in and wins this damn game, man, I'm telling you, we got to start looking at Seattle as possibly a playoff team. And I actually had the Seahawks as a sleeper before this season. So, hey, who knows, man? We'll see. Jacksonville and the Houston Texans. I think that this is the week that the Texans really come down to earth. Jacksonville back at home in the heat. They take care of the Texans by a score of 34-21. Next, we have the Bears and Vikings. I have the Vikings in this game. I think they'll dominate. I think the Bears finally come back down to earth again. I don't think they have the offense. I don't think that their defense will be able to hold up long term in this game. I have the Minnesota Vikings. Chargers against Browns. I have the Browns in this game. I don't trust the Chargers. Never will trust the Chargers. I think the Browns come back home and get a win. Next, we have the 4 o'clock slate games. Dallas against the Rams. I got the Rams. I would have picked Dallas, but I think the Rams coming off a tough loss to the 49ers. I think that they're going to finally try to get away to get Allen Robinson the ball. And if Allen Robinson can't do anything against Brown, they're going to have issues. You have to spread the ball around to more people than Cooper Kupp if you want to be successful if you are the LA Rams. I think Dallas, especially if Dak doesn't play, I think they'll come back down to earth a little bit. Like I said, the Rams need this game. Dallas doesn't need this game. The Rams need this game in that tough NFC West. Next game, we have the 49ers and Panthers. 49ers, they're going to go down to Carolina, old division rivals. Back in the old NFC West days, I think they take care of the Panthers. I think that defense makes Baker Mayfield look absolutely silly. We have another game, another old NFC East rivalry between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Arizona Cardinals. As we said, folks, strange things happen in the desert after 4 p.m. I got the Arizona Cardinals winning this football game by a score of 27-21. Next, we have the Sunday night game. Ravens and Bengals. I got Ravens. I think Ravens come out. I think that Lamar Jackson has a 350-yard passing night, and he runs for another 120. Ravens win this game. Easy. Yeah, that's right. I think they come out and blitz these guys in the second half. They take them out. I got the Ravens in this game 38-21. Next, we have Monday Night Football. The Raiders and the Chiefs. Now, you talk about an old school rivalry, a rivalry that can get nasty. The Chiefs, the Raiders is going down on Monday night. You know what else is going down? About 5 touchdowns down the throats of the Las Vegas Raiders. 5 touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. He may even throw 6. One of these weeks, I'm going to get this right. 5 or 6 touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. I have the Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Las Vegas Raiders by a score of 42-27. Now, everybody, it's time for our top 25 upset alert special. This has been one of the more popular segments in the show. Let's start from the noon games all the way to the end of the night. We're going to start with Arkansas going to number 23, Mississippi State. No upset here. I got Mississippi State. Indiana playing against number 4, Michigan. Michigan needs to be careful. It's a high noon game. I think the first half will be a little close, but I got Michigan running away with this thing. TCU against Kansas. I got Kansas. I'm not going to pick TCU in upset. Another high noon game, and you got to be very careful. We got the Tennessee Volunteers at number 8 going to play LSU at LSU. If it was a night game, I would pick LSU, but it's not. A Tennessee team is rolling. I got Tennessee. Number 24, Cincinnati is back in the top 25 against South Florida. In this game, the 1-4 South Florida Bulls, can't pick them. I got Cincinnati. We got the Oklahoma State Cowboys against Texas Tech, high noon game. No upset here. I got Oklahoma State. Ooh, this is going to be a good one, ladies and gentlemen. We've got number 11 Utah against number 18 UCLA. UCLA is 5-0. If they can win this game, this puts them in prime position to somehow, some way get that playoff. Because then what you would need USC to beat Utah. But I don't see it. I don't see it. I know they beat Washington last week, but I got the Utah Utes going in and winning this game. No upset. I think that they learned from that first game against Florida. I got Utah. No upset. Next, we got Georgia and Auburn. I'm going to tell you guys something. I really think that Auburn is going to play their asses off in this game. But I think Georgia's going to win. But it's not going to be by a lot. I'm telling you, folks, go back and watch the tape with Georgia and Kent State. Something got exposed with Georgia. You mark my words. Something got exposed with Georgia. Something got exposed with Georgia. So, you know, that's all I'm saying. Not saying that Auburn's going to win the game. I'm just saying that Auburn has a chance to keep it closer than the experts think. Shout out to Lee Corso. Ole Miss against Vanderbilt. Ole Miss. Ain't no upset. Number 21, Washington against Arizona State. How does Washington respond coming up against Arizona State? An Arizona State team who lost to USC 42-25, but played pretty well. Played pretty well. And also an Arizona State team that's played a tough schedule. A very tough schedule. I'm going to give this game to Washington. No upset. Ohio State at Michigan State. Usually, man, when you got Ohio State going up here, it's like, man, it's going to be a tough game and all this other stuff. But, and of course, Michigan State lost to a tough Washington team and a really good Minnesota team. And they lost to Maryland, who's coming up. But I can't do it, man. There's no upset here. I got Ohio State, the number 3 team in the nation, taking down Michigan State and Michigan State. Next, we have USC and Washington State. I got USC. No upset here. BYU and Notre Dame. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I cannot believe I'm going to do this. I got Notre Dame in the upset.
You have been warned. There is nowhere to run.
I got Notre Dame in the upset, man. When you're BYU, you had everything on the line. You went, you played Oregon, and you went to bed. I got Notre Dame, man, in the upset. I just do. Next, we have Kansas State and Iowa State. This is prime position for Kansas State to go down. Kansas State always does this. It never freaking fails.
You have been warned. There is nowhere to run.
They go and beat Oklahoma. They're like 4-0, 5-1, 1-5, 2-5, whatever. They always beat Oklahoma, and then they somehow go into Big 12 play and they wet the freaking bed. Iowa State gets the upset of number 20, Kansas State. It always happens. Next, we have Clemson, Boston College. Be very careful if you're Clemson. Be very freaking careful. But no upset. Clemson wins this game. Next, we have South Carolina, Kentucky. South Carolina. No, I can't. I can't. Kentucky's going to dominate them. Wake Forest, Army. Wake Forest, out of here. I'm going to wait till I get to this game, right? Number 12, Oregon, going to Arizona. Late game, 9 o'clock game. I can't give it to Arizona. No, I'm just not going to. North Carolina State against Florida State. NC State. I can't give it to Florida State, especially after last week's game is at NC State. Now, let's go to the game of the week, in my opinion. Even though it's not really the game of the week, it's my game of the week. Number 1, Alabama against Texas A&M. Ladies and gentlemen,
finish him.
Jimbo talked all that trash. Jimbo said this, Jimbo said that. Ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama Crimson Tide will not be upset in this game. In fact, they will beat A&M by at least 35 points or more. It's going to be a bloodbath. So if you're A&M, prepare. Prepare to get back, to get on the plane. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Get back on the plane. To everybody booing you, because Alabama is going to beat the crap out of you. Point blank, end of story. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been episode 10 of Entense Sports with Rob Johnson. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to Darrell Owens for coming on to the show. Hope you guys enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week for episode 11.